having a few key speakers, just trying to deliberate and just have key highlights and know what to expect of the 2021 Hanover Trade Fair, which is set to be a hybrid session. This is due to the COVID pandemic. We could not be able to have just physical session. So it's going to be a hybrid session where the people who are able to make it from Germany will be able to go there. And if you're not able to make it, you don't have to worry. The people organizing the event in Hanover City are going to be able to give you a look at what is going on. Just to give you a glance of what the Hanover Trade Fair is, this is the world's largest and most impactful trade fair that usually just looks at the industrial transformation and also the industries, what's happening in key industries, and it happens annually. And this year, it's going to be from the 12th to the 16th of April, which is next week. So it's, the key thing to note about this is that it has been able to gather a lot of participants with about, 6,500 people in the last sessions, and about, actually 6,500 exhibitors in the last session, and about 250,000 participants. That's huge. And as the East African region, we cannot be able to ignore such a thing. And this is the reason why this session today is here, to just see what the key opportunities that the region can be able to tap in to be able to take advantage of such an opportunity. In today's session, we're going to be having some key speakers from our very own incoming Secretary General of the East African Community, Dr. Peter Mathuki, and we're also going to be having key speakers all the way from Germany, and we're also going to be having key BMOs represented in the session. I will just start with the ground rules for you to be able to know that today we might have a few snacks for you. Number one, you need to mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Ensure that you switch off your video when you're not speaking. And anything you contribute to the day's meeting should be according to the day's goals. And we're also going to be having some regional perspectives of what we can take advantage of this meeting. The key meeting will be focusing on the topic, and ensure that the questions you have, kindly wait until we end the session during the Q&A session and send in your question in the chat room, and we're going to pick them from there. Kindly note that the meeting will be recorded for reporting purposes. We kick off the session. I'm going to call upon the Executive Director of the Confederation of Tanzania Industries, who is Mr. Liodoga Tenga. Mr. Tenga, if you're in the session, kindly switch on your video. If Mr. Tenga is
and everybody,
kindly switch off your microphone.
Hello? I should switch off my microphone? Fine, okay.
Am I talking to Mr. Tenga?
This is a camera. Yes, please.
Kindly kick off the session.
Yes. Can you hear me, madam?
Loud and clear.
Excellent. Let me first of all take this opportunity to thank our colleagues from GIZ and our colleagues from EABC and everybody that has been involved in the organization of this visual meeting today. I would like as well to express my gratitude for being granted the opportunity to give brief opening words for this meeting this morning. My dear colleagues, let me start by introducing my name because not everybody. My name is Leodi Gatenga. I'm the Executive Director of CTI. And very briefly, CTI is a membership organization whose members are mainly industries and supporting industries. We have been in existence since 1991, and we are proud to say that we represent the majority of, if not all, industrial entities in the countries which are our members. And our main objective and mandate is to see to it that the country secures or achieves an environment that is conducive for investment. And having said that, I will straightforward go to the issues that are relevant to today's meeting. And very briefly, I would want to really appreciate once again the opportunity to be informed of opportunities available in the Hanover trade fair. We have been involved before, and once again, I thank Jose for that. We've been involved before. We sent our representative there, and we've gained a lot in the relationship with our brothers from GIZ and definitely other participants in the fair. And once again, I would want to, on behalf of everybody around, to really express our appreciation to the Lower Saxon region and our colleagues from Germany. Now, we'll be here really looking forward to the opportunities that are there, and we'll definitely see to it that our members and do benefit from those opportunities, and we'll see to it that as many members as possible participate in that fair one way or the other. It be physical if possible, but virtually as that today there is going to be some kind of training that is going to be offered, training on how to organize.
We're losing you, Mr. Tenga. Sincere apologies from my end. I feel like we've lost Mr. Tenga. I'll just go through the agenda of the day. We expect to have next Ambassador Peter Mathuki, who is the CEO of the East African Business Council, who is going to be followed by Matthias Vatka, who is the head of department at the International Corporation, BDI. About in the next 10 minutes, we're going to have our first presentation, which is going to be on industrial exhibitions from a public sector perspective, and which will be held by Ralph Pospick, who is the head of unit foreign trade investment fairs. And then we're going to be followed at about 10:30 by Mr. Lame Kwesonga, who is a manager policy and standards from the East African Business Council. And thereafter, there's going to be a discussion with selected representatives from the business organizations. Then at about 11 o'clock, we're going to have the Hanover Fair, Going Digital, Opportunities in Manufacturing and Exploring B2B Events, which is going to be held by Mr. Onwora Obukagu, who is the chief spokesman at the Duchess Messe organization. And at about 11:15, we're going to open up the Q&A session, and herein we're going to be having highlights on the upcoming exhibition webinar for East African partners, and thereafter we're going to have closing remarks. In 2019, Dr. Peter Muthuki attended the Hanover Trade Fair, and he still sings praises about the event. So kindly, as you join us, you can maybe give us the key highlights of the event and also share with us, as you take over the position as the incoming Secretary General, what are some of the things that you think are going to be your key highlight, and also what are the opportunities you feel the East African region can take advantage of in the Hanover Fair 2021. Welcome, Dr. Peter Muthuki.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you and see you, sir.
Hi, my brother Matthias. Doctor, how are you? Thank you, and everyone.
Great.
Thank you, and everyone who is in this meeting. The executive director, Matthias, of course, the BDI, and of course the entire GDC, German Development Partners, on this meeting, and our own friends from East Africa, Mr. Tenga of the CTI, Tanzania, thank you very much, and I'm really delighted to participate in this. I only hope that it was again physical in Hanover. Hanover is a place I really loved and I would have loved to be, but circumstances in the world all over cannot allow us to be physically meeting as such, and therefore important to adapt to the new circumstances. And we are at a meeting at a time when the world is facing a monumental challenge, the pandemic, but happy that at least we are able now to adapt and start getting new ways of doing business irrespective of this. And I think this shows again the need for very, harmonized and coordinated way on how we need to do things globally. And it has even possibly now become cheaper to do some of these meetings. Yeah, and that's why we are able to meet those in Dar es Salaam, those in in Berlin, those in Hanover, and those in Nairobi. And therefore, I think it's important. But let me say, appreciate the fact that the topic, the industrial transformation or opportunities in at a time like this, and that being the theme of the Hanover Fair 2021. It cannot be a better, actually, theme, because again, we are appreciating that in the wake of pandemic, we're able now to start rethinking on how to ensure that industrialization still peaks, but under very new, circumstances, and that is why e-commerce and virtual meetings and conferences possibly will take lead. But I think very important that we start now thinking together, and that should be countries in Africa, in East Africa, and those in Europe and other parts of the world. How can we make sure that the industrialization still peaks? How do we even start thinking of repurposing? Because it's important. I've seen situations in the wake of pandemic, industries across East Africa trying to repurpose. We could not think of, for example, manufacturing PPEs at a time, because we used to rely much on what was coming from the rest of the world. But again, industries have been able to quickly repurpose and transform and started now thinking local. And therefore, I think it's a high time we need to rethink together and see how we, under the new circumstances, under the new environment, how we could have collaboration and strategic partnerships between now our friends from Europe, Germany, and of course East Africa, and see how we could build the capacity of industries across in East Africa. And it comes at a time, much as of course is a challenge, but an opportunity to build the capacities of industries here. And looking at the bigger picture, now that the African continental free trade area is here with us, and is inevitably so, how can we start now having some of these strategic partnerships between industries in Europe, in Germany, and East Africa, but focusing at the bigger market of 1.3 billion people in Africa, and so forth. So we must much as, of course, appreciate challenges have been there, occasioned by the pandemic, but also appreciate that opportunities are also there, depending on how we strategically look at it and how we would want to partner. But quickly, some of the issues, and I've seen industrialization challenges that have been there, is the fact that COVID has brought in this, but even say that issues of infrastructure and utility cost. And these are some of the things that have been really hampering industrialization in this part of the world. The fact that, again, the supply chain disruptions, and I've spoken about it, over dependence of raw materials from other parts of the world. And therefore the need now to start now using what we have in Africa, possibly with the capacity building and from other parts of the world, and see how we can make use of what we have, the raw materials in East Africa. Of course, the issues of there are some issues to do with compliance and the issues of standards, and I'm sure and some time we'll talk about it. These are some of the things we are going to navigate through as we try to readjust. But the fact is that, again, the issue of our own labor here in Africa, and again, under the new circumstances, we need a lot of capacity building around adaptation. They need almost every aspect of business now must have an aspect of technology, and I think this is important. So meaning that we must again start now building capacity of our workforce, our labor force, so that they start adapting to circumstances as they were. Things like technology and maximizing on issues of automation. And that's what I'm saying. COVID matches, of course, was a big challenge, but it also brought in some opportunities. And therefore, with what is happening globally, and knowing, of course, the trade, wars between some big countries in the world, and I'm telling you, particularly in the US and China, that again impacting on what is happening in this part of the world in Africa. So I think it's a high time we need now to strategically identify strategic partners and see how we could take advantage of this. As you may know, the East African community has a strategy, what we call the East African Community Industrialization Strategy. And the objective of this, again, was supposed to enhance industrial production and productivity, and accelerate the structural transformation of the economies of East Africa in order to attain sustainable wealth and, of course, improved incomes for the citizens in East Africa. And that, given that already we have a document that guides us on this, it's an issue now, and now we can make use of it, but also readjust under the new circumstances. So I think that's what I would say, and I would want to really appreciate the kind of partnership we've received from our friends from Germany, BDI, of course, the GIZ, now the Business for Scouts, and for that. And so we cannot talk of a complete East African community regional integration without talking of Germany, our German friends. And that, I think that is something we need to salute you for. And again, in our next new role, I would count on you, GDC, German Development Partners, to continue seeing how we need to continue building this possibly capacity. There are a number of issues that, of course, we would expect to do at the EAC, but the East African community, in the new few days, I see a strategic transformational agenda that tries to transform the entire, operations of the community, so that we can make it truly private sector led, because that is what the Treaty of the East African says. So there will be a very strategic and key role of the private sector in the happenings and activities of the community. And therefore, that's why I count on this continuous cooperation that we've been, of course, having with our friends from Germany. I see now, of course, a lot of transformation at even the structural, how the community looks like, institutional strengthening. That is something we need to count on. Again, we need to bring on board all the partner states so that we can together respond to challenges of COVID, because we must collectively do that as the partner states of the EAC in terms of testing, tracing, and how we generally respond to COVID, and also how we recover. Our economic recovery strategy must so much harmonized so that all the partner states of the EAC read from the same page. And that way, we remain secure, we remain safe, and we remain relevant to the entire world today. If we have a very structured way of responding to COVID, COVID is too unforgiving, as it were, and therefore we must have a very deliberate, strategy to both respond to it and also see how to recover. Otherwise, we don't have a very deliberate strategy for our economies in terms of recovery, we remain very challenged. And these are some of the areas we'd be expecting our partners to really come in and see how to support the partner states of EAC. We are looking at, for example, let's say the long distance truck drivers who have been moving goods and essential services across the region. Those should be almost like in the front line to be given a priority to access to vaccines. So I think the issue of vaccination across East Africa will be a priority in terms of how we want to engage our partners to intervene and work with us. Because at the end of the day, when we do that, then we'll be realizing the openness and realization of free movement of goods and services across the region. And that will bring in our increased trade, intra-EAC increased trade. And that again will provide enabling environment for business. And therefore our investors and our partners from the rest of the world will be able to take advantage and come to invest in this part of the world, East Africa, but looking at the bigger markets. So I want to count on you. I would want to invite you, all of you, to the event that will be happening on the 23rd of April in Arusha. That's the day I'll be officially be taking over the handing over process and of course assumption of the office. And therefore I would want to invite you to come and participate with us so that you witness and we share with you our vision on how we want to transform and change the community going forward. And therefore I count on you. Thank you very much. And for the time, hope I've not taken over, used so many words, too wordy, but I thought it was necessary that I express how I feel we need to move forward and underline the fact that our partners from Germany have been very key strategic partners in the growth of EAC, and we count on you going forward. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mathuki, and those are very precise words that challenges have been there and so are opportunities, and you've called upon the region to explore partnerships with development partners in diversifying the manufacturing base and also increasing the local value-added content of the resource-based exports. Mr. Matthias Wachter, you call it Wachter, kindly. This is your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lillian. Dear Peter, dear incoming Secretary General of the East African Community, I have to say, dear colleagues, partners, and friends from GIZ and of course from East Africa. I'm very happy to see you all this morning. Times are challenging, Peter mentioned it, but they bring positive changes and opportunities as well. The extended use of technologies in doing business, including virtual trade fairs, is one of them. I think for Africa, this is another opportunity for leapfrogging as well as a way to deepen the cooperation between African and German businesses and business membership organizations. Trade fairs are not only essential for industrial development, they are also key partners for the German business associations. Hanover Fair is one of the most important partners for BDI. Every year, BDI is hosting events at the fair. We provide platforms to bring together stakeholders of German industry and politics. Before we start discussing the opportunities of cooperation between the African Business Association, private companies, and the Hanover Fair, let me say a few words to Peter. Peter, congratulations on your appointment as Secretary General of the East African Community once again. It is great to see someone who really understands the needs of the private sector in the region in this position. This is the key to a successful regional integration. We are grateful to have been working with you during the last years. I'm personally, I'm very grateful. We had our partnership project between EABC and BDI, as well as our cooperation with our project Creating Perspectives, now called Business Scouts for Development. Together, we have done and accomplished a lot. We have organized many expert trainings together. We have cooperated in the organization of several events. BDI colleagues had the opportunity to visit EABC conferences. Hereby, we learned from each other and friendships have developed. One event which I particularly remember is the BDI delegation to the East African Business and Investment Summit in November 2019 in Arusha, Tanzania. The delegation was headed by Mr. Holger Lösch, the Deputy Director General of the BDI. Another event that I enjoy looking back to is your visit to the Hanover Fair in 2019. You mentioned that. You and the delegation of manufacturers from the EAC met there with German companies to develop partnerships, learned about German technologies and exchanged experiences. During the last years, the EABC member base has grown from less than 80 to more than 120. EABC has been resolving border disputes, troubleshooting for members and their goods, sensitizing of border officers, lowering of sugar tariffs, advocacy for harmonization of taxes, and of course, the very strong COVID-19 responses. And of course, the continuous efforts on the common external tariff. We are proud to be EABC's partner. In the past, regional integration in East Africa did not proceed as quickly as the private sector wished for. EABC achieved a lot by pushing the governments towards integration. For example, EABC facilitated the transport of goods between East African countries. We hope that this positive development can even accelerate it once you are in office as Secretary General of the East African Community now, Peter. So you have our strongest support. The East African communities' economies are growing, and their importance as trading partners and investment destination for German companies will increase in the future. Therefore, we are looking forward to keeping the partnership between EABC and BDI alive, to bring German companies to the region and support regional integration in the future. I'm really looking forward to that. So, dear Peter, we wish you a lot of success in your new and very important position and all the best for your future tasks. Thank you very much.
Apologies for that. For the next session, in the next 15 minutes or less, we are going to be having Mr. Ralph Pospick, who is from the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Transport and Digitalization from the Lower Saxony, who will share inputs on the role of the public sector in supporting trade fairs.
Yes, hello everybody. I hope you can understand me. I'm very much honored to talk to you today at the seminar of the Deutsche Messe Management Akademie as a representative of the Niedersachsen Ministry of Economics Affairs, Employment, Transport and Digitalization. I'm very much honored because I have a special relationship.
Hello,
also
we can hear you.
Excuse me? Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you clearly.
No, you can continue. The network is clear.
Okay, because I had someone talk to me that it's not clear. So I would like to continue. My name is Ralph Pospick, and I'm the head of the unit of foreign trade, investment promotion, and fair in the Ministry of economic affairs here in Niedersachsen. And what I would like to say a couple of sentences before, I have a special relationship to the African continent because I had the honor to work for more than 2 years in South Africa. So the African continent is always very special to me. But I would like to say a couple of words to Niedersachsen so that you have an idea, because in Niedersachsen you find Hanover, and here we have the Hanover Fair at the Deutsche Messe AG. So Niedersachsen is the second largest federal state in Germany, and was around 8 million people. We have as many inhabitants as many members of the European Union, like Belgium or Austria or Denmark. Our state is an attractive and competitive business location, and is characterized in particular by numerous global players such as Volkswagen, Continental, and other big companies as well. And this is for us very important, as well as strong internationally active small and medium-sized business. Niedersachsen is number one in mobility in Germany. In addition to the outstanding automotive industry, you know, Volkswagen or Continental, nowhere else in Germany is there so much experience in the aerospace industry as here. Niedersachsen is known as the logistic heart of Europe because of its excellent location in the middle of Europe and the infrastructure. Several seaports on the North Sea coast, such as the Jadewerder port, as well as is the only deep water port in Germany. And what is also a very important branch is the agriculture and food industry. This is the most important branch in the country after the automotive industry. Niedersachsen companies are leaders in the field of plant breeding and livestock in Europe. We are also committed to global and national climate protection goals. The measure to do not stop at the development of renewable energies, but we go far beyond that. As a pioneer of sector coupling, Niedersachsen is researching and testing the production of green hydrogen from renewable energies. Niedersachsen is a state with a digital economy, Industry 4.0 in production, smart farming in agriculture, and virtual reality in industrial applications. Digitalization is the success factor in all industries, but you know what the term industry 4.0 was thematically introduced here at the Hanover Fairs for the first time? As an international trade fair location, Niedersachsen's state capital Hanover is a magnet for business people from all over the world, especially for the world's largest industrial fair, Hanover Messe, and other important world trade fair organized by the Deutsche Messe AG, like Agritechnica or the fair for floor covering Domotex. International trade fairs increase awareness of the business location and contribute to the region's positive image. In addition, high-ranking international players from politics and business come to the region on a regular basis. This gives local companies very good opportunities to initiate contacts. In addition, the trade fair and Congress sector is associated with enormous employment impulses in other sectors such as gastronomy or with specialized service providers. Both the state of Niedersachsen and the city of Hanover each hold 49.9% of the shares of the Deutsche Messe AG. Deutsche Messe AG is therefore, from the point of ownership, a public company. Deutsche Messe AG has one of the world's largest exhibition grounds in Hanover. The fairground is, from our point of view, characterized by a high quality infrastructure and excellent transport links. Unfortunately, at the moment, we only have the option of digital exchange, but you
Hello, Mr. Pospeak. I believe we've lost you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Lillian.
As you had rightly pointed out, you've given us a visual image for those who've not visited Hanover to be able to just feel the presence of the excellent location and infrastructure. And you are also talking about that there's nowhere with so much experience as here, particularly on digitalization being the success factor in all industries. Mr. Pospeak, we can see you now. I hope we can be able to hear you.
Yes.
Kindly go ahead.
I have really no idea. I was kicked out of the meeting and I don't know where I have.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, and sincere apologies for that.
Okay, but did you hear me? Did I have to start again, or because I'm really not sure, because I was half through my to my speech.
No, we were able to capture you, so you can just go ahead with your speech. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Well. I was just characterizing the fairground and the high quality of the infrastructure here in Hanover. And ladies and gentlemen, a central theme of economic policy in the internationalization of Niedersachsen's economy is the internationalization of the Niedersachsen economy. It has been shown that growth opportunities not only exist for large international positions company, but also for small and medium enterprises. It is important that they establish new international contacts or expand existing international connections. Exports is also the engine of Niedersachsen's economy. So this is very important that small and medium enterprises have the opportunity to visit fairs and do business. Numerous studies and investigations show that internationally successful companies are particularly innovative, and that creates positive employment impulses at their local domestic locations. This is true even if you look at companies that have also relocated production abroad. Internationality creates growth and increased competitiveness, which in turn ensures our prosperity and create jobs. An important instrument of economic development is therefore to give small and medium-sized companies in particular the opportunity to present themselves and their products and services at international trade fairs at home and abroad. With a special funding program, we promote and organize joint stands as well as individual stands of companies at trade fairs. The Hanover Messe is playing a special role as the industrial fair every year since 1949, because nowhere else does international industry and its companies meet to present new innovations and address international customers. The political importance of the Hannover Messe is also evident from the fact that the German federal chancellor opens the fair every year. Foreign state guests and top-class business delegation visit the Hanover Fair. In 2019, there were around 6,500 exhibitors at the Hannover Messe. Around 225,000 visitors from all over the world came to the fair to find out about the latest developments in the industrial sector. At the Hannover Messe 2021, the state of Niedersachsen is represented with 2 joint stands. This time digital, of course, novelty for us too. We give companies that have so far little experience with the trade fairs the opportunity to present themselves to an international audience. The hustle and bustle of the exhibition ground, the internationality of the guest, and the positive feedback from business make the Hanover Fair a special event. In conclusion, I can hope to see you soon here at the Hanover Fair in Niedersachsen, and I hope to welcome you as soon as possible. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pospick. It's just to say the 5-day 2021 Hanover Messe, which is going to be a hybrid event, is themed industrial transformation, and it's promising the exhibitors, particularly the SMEs in East Africa, an opportunity to fully exploit the market potential of their products and also strengthen business linkages with international markets. Up next is Mr. Lame Kwesonga, who is going to take us through and give us a presentation on the role of the East African Business Council in harmonizing policy and advocacy, now paving way to manufacturing or trade fair for easy cross-border trade and exchange, and know how to transfer this within the region. Thank you very much, Mr. Lamek, kindly. Mr. Lamek is also the Manager, Policy and Standards, East African Business Council. He has a presentation. Kindly, Lamek, make it short.
Thank you very much, Lillian, and thank you to everyone who has joined in this meeting, to the incoming SG, our key development partners from Germany. I'll be taking you through the future of trade fairs in Africa, looking at the perspectives for industrialization. The East African Business Council, I'm also in charge of the manufacturers desk. So briefly about EABC, we are the apex body of the private sector and corporates from the 6 EAC partner states, founded in 1997 to advocate for the private sector interest in the integration process. We have a vision of having a borderless East Africa for business and investment, and with a mission of promoting sustainable private sector development within our region. Looking at the outline of the presentation, key is to first highlight to you the industrialization drive within our community as reiterated by the incoming SG. EAC has an industrialization strategy of 2012-2032. And with this strategy, there are specific outcomes that need to be registered with the purpose of increasing, one, the manufacturing industry's contribution to our GDP. Averagely, we are about 9.7%, with a target of having 25% by the year 2032. The other target is increasing our manufacturing base to employment, which is about 456,000 to about 2.3 million by the year 2032. We are also looking at a value addition per capita, currently at about $50, with a target of about $258 by the year 2032. Closely looking at the trade fairs and exhibition in the EAC, our manufacturing potential have been portrayed in a number of areas, some of which include, one, the high-level East African Business Summit and Exhibition. This is usually held every November preceding the EAC Heads of State Summit. And we are glad that in the previous summits we have had, save for the one of 2020, which could not be held because of COVID-19, we have had partners from Germany coming to showcase and also be part of this high-level business summit. We also have in the other EAC partner states, the Uganda International Trade Fair for Uganda, organized by the Uganda Manufacturing Association. We have the Expo Rwanda, which is the Rwanda International Trade Fair, organized by the PSFR, the Burundi Industrial Exhibition, which is usually organized jointly by the Association of Burundi Industries, and then the Chamber of Commerce. In Kenya, we usually have the Industrial Week, same with Tanzania, although in Tanzania we also go as far as having the Sabasaba, and also one jointly organized with the TAN Trade. In all these exhibitions, where the manufacturing sector has been showcasing their potential, what they have to offer to the region and to the world, GIZ creating perspectives, now the Business Council for Development, and then our partners, BDI, have been instrumental in supporting this, both in terms of exhibition, the technical know-how, and then organizing B2Bs between our counterparts in Europe and then those within the region. And we still look forward to further collaborations in the trade fair and beyond. We looked at what are some of these key recommendations we need to take forward in ensuring that the manufacturing sector within the EAC and Africa in general can take forward to realize that, one, we grow as a manufacturing base, and two, we borrow. For example, Germany is an industrialized country, and you can never industrialize without borrowing a leaf from Germany. So what do we need to do? And well knowing that we are almost, if I may say, coming out of a pandemic, and the manufacturing sector has been impacted so heavily with this pandemic. Number one, we looked at the critical role of the business membership organizations in spearheading industrialization within the region. For future trade fairs in Africa, I think there's a need to borrow a leaf from the Hanover Virtual Fair and consider domesticating it within our own fairs as a region. We need to have adequate industrial policy measures and enablers to accelerate the digital agenda. As you realize, I think the COVID pandemic has given way to accelerate even the industrialization 4.0 agenda, given the nature in which we have been operating, similar to what we are doing at the moment. The other key recommendation would be access to stable and affordable electricity for Africa to industrialize in the digital era. You cannot industrialize without, first of all, having stable power, which is affordable. Affordability means you're able to compete with other products from outside. The need to invest in the digital infrastructure. Looking at the lessons from COVID-19 to manufacturing sector, it will be very prudent that our governments focused on investment in the digital infrastructure. The critical role of development partners, such as GIZ, under the Business Council for Development, and then BDI, working closely with the BMOs, will be very, very key in trying to push for the development of industrial sector. Organization of the B2Bs will be very, very critical as well, and participating in fairs such as this one of Hanover will be good for our industrial development. I thank you, and we pray that with these key recommendations, we'll be able to steer the growth of our manufacturing sector, and EABC will be there to always partner with you. And we are so glad that one who knows us very well is now at the center of policy at the regional level and will be very, very glad to support us in this cause. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wesonga, and particularly for appreciating the GIZ Business Scouts, because they're the ones still behind this meeting today. GIZ Business Scouts has been instrumental, again, in supporting EABC and also other organizations in the East African region, not only in organizing B2B events, but also in the technical know-how. And Lamek, you've been able to note that we need to borrow a leaf from Hanover and consider also how we can be able to escalate or be able to empower and enrich the digital infrastructure. At this juncture, I'd like to call upon Mr. Hein Eckert from the Business Scouts for Development, GIZ, and at this particular point, he's going to be able to steer the discussion on showcasing manufacturing opportunities in Africa, trade fairs of the future. He's going to be having a panel of BMOs to share their past experiences, some of the gaps that are there, and foreseen opportunities in industrial trade fairs. Thank you very much, Mr. Eckert. Karibu.
Asante. Very good morning and good afternoon to the region. Yes, my name is Eckhard Heine. I was heading the Creating Perspectives project so far, and we are now coordinating from Germany, the BDI unit within the new program setup of the Business Scouts for Development program. So as indicated, we have been working in Arusha together with EABC. That is the reason why you are seeing in the background of my view here through the camera now Arusha and the place where EABC headquarters is located. So it's a bold statement. Please, if it's possible, visit EABC, visit EAC in the region, and then you can enjoy this view. In addition, I want to thank Lillian already for the great moderation. And before we start with the small panel as we have planned, I have to question in how far are we flexible with the next speaker, as we have a 15 minutes delay. Is Deutsche Messe in the position also to wait 15 minutes in addition, or what is your schedule saying, please?
Yes, hello, Honorable Cargo from Deutsche Messe here. A quarter of an hour would be okay. I definitely would have to leave at past. That's the my situation.
Okay, nee, appreciating. Then we understand the situation and can go ahead for now. As I was working in Kampala and in the region in the last 3 years, of course, I was observing the trends in exhibitions always. In Kampala, for instance, there is also a very big fairground, similar to what we are having here in Hanover. And UMA, as a Ugandan Manufacturer Association, and as Lamek has indicated it in his presentation, is regularly running shows in this fairground. And I was always wondering, okay, all the Arab countries are there, from Asia are there. Sometimes they had also partners, of course, very huge fairs from China. But rarely we have seen any booths from Europe or from Germany in particular. And I may call up in first Joyce from Kenya Association of Manufacturers, since you have experienced one of the other leading fairs in Germany, the Anuga fair in Cologne. What is your vision in terms of maybe facilitating in future formats like Hanover Fair, like Anuga, in a similar way to either bridge connections to the fairs ongoing in Europe or to attract maybe exhibitors more from the European continent in order to also facilitate your shows of BMOs in East Africa? Joyce, please, it's your turn.
Thank you, Eckhard, for the opportunity, and I appreciate the ongoing discussions. My name is Joyce Njogu from the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. I hope I'm visible. There's some background noise. So, and I also want to congratulate Honorable Peter Mathuki for the new appointment and to thank the BDI and GIZ for the opportunity. I know time is short, so I'll be straight to the point. I first mentioned on the chart that in Kenya we have the Kenya Manufacturing Summit and Expo that we've been hosting every November, aligning it to the industrialization, the Africa Industrialization Day as part of promoting the industrialization agenda from an African point of view. But the initial focus has mainly been on showcasing local products because of just demonstrating the value of manufacturing and the scope and complexity of what exists in Kenya. We've also wanted to partner a lot with international partners. I have experiences with the international trade fairs, and just the other day we did the Anuga fair, and we saw the scope and complexity of the connections and linkages that were there, the sophistication of the B2Bs, and it's quite different from how we do things in Africa. We are a bit less sophisticated. But we are so glad with the opportunities that the digital platform has offered. So this hybrid opportunity is quite welcome. Of course, it has its own challenges in the sense that most of the Kenyan businesses, I'll focus on Kenya because I know my colleagues will talk about their other countries, especially related to SMEs. They don't have a sophisticated digital network that can promote them quite extensively in international fairs. And that's one of the areas of capacity building that I've heard being promoted as a way of enhancing their capabilities and also their digital footprints. This is so that they can benefit from the opportunities of digital fairs. You realize that if it's a hybrid, it will still favor physically those who will be in Hanover, but for those in Kenya, for instance, they'll have to really utilize all the digital platforms, whether it's the webinars, the chat rooms, the B2B opportunities and appointments, and learn to keep to the schedule. The time schedules also could be a challenge for some SMEs, so understanding the different time schedules for the different countries. And Hanover being international, again, knowing that their market is not just Germany, but the rest of Europe and even the rest of Africa. Those opportunities are too wide and they could overwhelm, a business that is not well prepared on exactly what outcomes to get out of such an international fair. When we went to Anuga, of course, if somebody wasn't prepared with their pitch and the kind of clients they want to meet, the innovations they want to adopt, then you'd get confused and you could also end up living without any concrete partnership or any lead that could amount to something substantial or even get return on your investment, on your time and costs of going there. So with the digital fairs, the costs are really low. Which is a big opportunity for industries in Kenya and also in Africa. But again, their level of preparedness, the sophistication of their products, because we are now looking at a global scene. So the issue of global competitiveness comes in, and at CAM, I know we promote global competitiveness, and the digital space has only come to emphasize just how global we are. So when you're showcasing your products, they have to meet the expected standards. There are all these areas that have been brought up about technology advancement, issues of green growth or sustainability or traceability of your products. All this, the digital space is now exposing us to the integrity and social responsibility and other corporate responsibilities around our businesses. So the best part of this is the data reliability. In physical events, sometimes you find data sets may not be as accurate as possible, but the digital platform is very good in terms of tracing the content that was displayed there, and not just for that time, but for a long time. So the shelf life of data sets is very long. That's a huge benefit for even African businesses. So if there are too many activities happening, We are lucky because you can attend one and then, trace others which have been saved in still the same digital platform and access enough content at a later date. There's the opportunity for timely B2Bs as well as also for tracking the buyers or the visitors that were there and their contact addresses. So the contact list is also readily available and somebody could easily book appointments online before, during, and after the event. So there are those at very low cost, if at all, their research. It will just be about your digital data costs and your time. So these are some of the opportunities we see for the Kenyan businesses and generally African businesses. Traditionally, most people would not afford to physically go to international events, but now with COVID and the lockdowns that are forcing everybody to consider digital space as a new hope for us, then it is becoming standard business operation and how we communicate. So no one has an excuse to say that they really don't want to go the digital way or thinking that the impact is low. We have no choice anyway. Some countries on lockdown, others are on open market, some destinations are closed, but the digital space has given us an open market. Thank you.
Okay. That was very precise.
Thank you, Eckhard. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, no, very good. And to give now the German side also a better understanding what so far has been conducted in UMA ground, I call up and now Mubarak. I was told that you are in from Kampala, so that you can describe a bit your scope of operations for fairs running in UMA ground. That is a exhibition ground you have to imagine in the center of a big city. So, and I think you are very much in an advantage position to have all these facilities, but maybe you have also some ideas in how far you see the need for partnering, so to run the exhibition ground properly. So Mubarak, please, next from Kampala. Or Vincent, if you, no, now it's coming in. We have still to unmute your mic. Kampala, are you here? Your microphone is muted. Seems the connection is having problems. Vincent, are you able to step in and give a brief information? Otherwise, I call up from Inaya.
Hello, Eka, did you get me now?
Yes. Okay, now you are here. We can hear you clearly. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Eckhart. And I would also like to add my voice to congratulate Dr. Peter Mathuchi for advancing to that level, and is part of our own, and we hope to get the best as he steps into that office. Coming to Uganda Manufacturers Association, I think it's really now a very pertinent time that we can talk about this, because as far as Uganda Manufacturers Association is concerned with trade fairs, it's a very big event on our calendar. But now this is the second year. Last year, we didn't have this international trade fair. And for this year, we are still 50-50. Now, when we talk of copying the Hanover way, I think that would be something so important, because as far as industries are concerned, it's very important that we do the marketing of our products. Without these markets, we shall not have the economic integration, and we shall not have the employment and the GDP growth in our countries. My only worry is that when we go digital, it is still something that is really very, very, very new to some of our industrialists. We still need a lot of sensitization to them such that they can pick it up. Some of them are not even well versed when it comes to holding the virtual trade fairs. Last year, we wanted to try it, but somehow it turned out to be very expensive for us to start it up. And to some extent, we failed to hold this trade fair. Otherwise, we are so happy. And like Lamek said, as his recommendations are so pertinent, and I think we really need to uptake if we have to survive in this situation. I submit.
Thank you, Mubarak. Then to have also the voice of a company owner, the CEO, Sherazada from Inaya, Zanzibar. For you as a consumer product manufacturer, if you hear now the business membership organization and consider their services providing B2B platforms, what is for you the most important service? What are you requiring from your business organization in order to facilitate up-to-date market platforms? Please, Sherazada from the wonderful, beautiful island of Zanzibar. You have to unmute, please.
Sorry, I thought I did unmute. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. Thank you. I mean, to reply to your question, to be honest, as a company, Inaya, I don't think we would need much, because this is something that we have been looking into for many reasons. We have attended several fairs in the past, notably in Tanzania. We went to Sabasaba. I am not a big fan of the Sabasaba fair, to be honest, because it doesn't lead to business. However, we have participated in the Karibu fair, which was much more whereby we did get a lot of new customers, and we go every year. So I have a tendency to prefer private sector-led fairs than government-led fairs, but I'm sure it depends on the country. For us, to go digital when it comes to fair, it has so many advantages that, to be honest, I don't think a company like ours would need much help, because first of all, for us, it would be so much more cost effective. It will mean less labor intensive as well, because you can imagine for a company like ours, we manufacture soaps and beauty products. Every time we go to a fair, it means bringing in a lot of samples with us, with all the, the stand equipment and decoration. It is a high cost, basically. And that would mean, well, first of all, cheaper and less cost intensive. And if we have to go to fairs, like let's say in Europe or other countries, it becomes also a bureaucratic nightmare. We get the visas, of course, to go to fairs, but, we should not, it is something that takes time and that is bothersome. So for me, it's actually a blessing. It would be one of the blessing in disguise of this whole COVID nightmare, is that we are able to look more into digital platforms for fairs, but also for communications, the way we're having. So for me, I mean, except for the technical know-how and to get a better understanding on how we can represent our company the best way possible in this digital way, I think we've done our research and we're pretty good on that matter. If you allow me, though, because we have many members of the EAC, and EABC present, I would like to just quickly bring something to their attention. I'm pretty sure they know it already, but you know, to go to trade fairs in the region is not a problem. Whether it's digital or physical, we can go, and these are usually quite easy to attend. The problem is the market itself. For us to spend all that money to promote our products and then being hit by so many NTBs left and right is the real issues. And we need to work on those issues before we even get to those markets. I can give you several examples. I'm an SME, we are manufacturers. We have tried to export to Kenya, to Uganda, to Rwanda. Every single one of these countries has been a nightmare when it comes to bureaucracy, whether through their Bureau of Standard or other institution. We are a duly registered and compliant company, and we are registered with the similar authorities here. Yet, you know, I heard the incoming Secretary General, and I'm really hopeful that things will change and that the EAC will become what we all hope it should be. But I really think there has to be a lot of work done to simplify and to simplify the procedures and to remove the NTBs for us to really take advantage of all these trade fairs. Because again, we can attend many trade fairs, but if we don't have the market because we can't access the market, then we're talking in vain. Another example is that it is easier for a company like mine to export to the US than to export to Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda, and that is not normal.
Thank you, Sherazada. I think that is an impressive notification for the legacy of the incoming Secretary General. And as Matthias Wachter from BDI was mentioning, you can be assured that with Peter Matuku, you have someone who at least understands the situation of the private sector. So now the biggest question is, of course, still in how far the system can be changed. And Development Cooperation, especially also the German Development Cooperation, is here still collaborating also on the level with the East African community. The colleagues in Arusha are working together with all these stuff and all the affiliated institutions. So let's hope the best. I hope for the audience, ladies and gentlemen, you got at least few insights from business organizations and SMEs concerning now the digital B2B platform, the trade shows experiences so far. I think we have learned that new ways are definitely appreciated, but the classical way of coming together and discussing topics is, I think, also still relevant. And with this, we are now coming to the next item, concerning the upcoming Hanover Fair, where even if it's virtually, I want also to underline that within the conference program of the Hanover Fair, you will find plenty of topics where experts are going to discuss certain issues. Among also the experts is also the German Development Cooperation, represented by the agency residing in Berlin, AWE, who is acting on behalf of the Ministry for Development and Economic Cooperation on the German side to consult especially SMEs in Germany about new markets. So please have a look into the conference program and register if you are interested to know more about and all the details. I'm pretty much sure Mr. Ogubaku is now talking about, but first I hand back to Lillian. Thank you so much, and Asante Sana to East Africa for the guests. Lillian.
Thank you very much, Bwana Eckhard, for steering the discussion, particularly on bringing in very interesting speakers such as Joyce Njogu, who was able to highlight that the digital space is exposing us as the East African region to social responsibility, and there's the need for data reliability, particularly now when we are going digital and we try to have conversations, and sometimes the digital space lets us down. So it's time for us to strengthen our data. Also from Kutu Mubarak, who was able to highlight that he's tried to organize B2B events in the past and they turned out to be very expensive. I can bet that our next speaker is set to give us some highlights on how we can be able to cut down the costs and also be able to have these sessions while still being on a good budget. We also had the beautiful Inaya from the beautiful Zanzibar, as Mr. Eckard has highlighted, and she pointed out that she is keen on fairs that lead to business, and I can bet so is everybody else. We're looking for cost-effective and less labor-intensive sessions that can be able to give East Africans a platform to showcase their products at the same time be cost-effective. At this juncture, we welcome Mr. Onuora Obukagu, who is going to give us insights about the upcoming Hanover Fair, the available B2B opportunities and potential areas of cooperation with EAC BMOs and trade fair organizations. Karibu, Mr. Onuora.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. The first question that I have is, do I have the possibility to share my screen?
Yes, you do.
Great. We can see you now. We can see your presentation.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, so thanks a lot for the kind presentation. As mentioned, I'm the spokesman of Deutsche Messe, which is one of the leading trade fair companies in the world. Normally, when we don't have a corona pandemic, we have a turnover of around 300 million euros. We organize fairs all the way from the US to China. And our major trade fair is the Hanover Messe. To those of you who are maybe not familiar with the Hanover Messe Industrial Trade Fair, I would describe it like if CES is the most important trade fair for the consumer electronics area, Hanover Messe is the most important trade fair for industrial technology, ranging from industrial robots to all sorts of software to make production plants and factories of the future possible. So that's the main topic of Hanover Messe here in Germany. Normally, we have around 200,000 visitors from all over the world coming to Hanover in April. Last year was the first time in the 72-year history of Hanover Messe that we had to cancel the show and organize the show as a 2-day digital event. It was more a conference program than an actual trade fair. And yet now next week we are starting with the Hanover Messe digital edition from Monday, which actually is a digital edition of the Hanover Messe Trade Fair. We have 1,800 exhibitors that are taking part. We have over 1,500 speakers in the speaker slots that you can look at in the conference program, and we are really touching all of the topics that are relevant for industrial manufacturing at this stage of age, with companies like Siemens, KUKA, Microsoft, and all the big names, even Google, that are taking part next week here in Hanover. I have to start with my presentation actually with a statement that might disappoint the one or other, because also we as Deutsche Messe, first of all, thought, okay, it's not going to be a problem to organize a digital fair. Let's just do it digitally, and then next year we will do it hybrid again. Actually, organizing a digital fair is much more cost intensive and organizational problems than we thought, because we are classically experts in organizing analog trade fair with getting people to come to Hanover. We had to set up a whole new IT infrastructure, a whole new set of features that were making us able to organize the Hanover Messe as a digital edition next week. And that was extremely cost intensive, and for us as a company, a real investment in the future, because we believe that after we are all have come over Corona, from next year on, hybrid trade fairs will actually be the future, and I'll come to that a little bit later. What we noticed was, when organizing digital fair, you really have to look at what are the key aspects of your brand that you have as a trade fair, as Hannover Messe, and what do the visitors normally expect when they come to Hanover, and what do they expect when they come and visit a digital trade fair. And that will of course be, in the case of Hannover Messe, they want to see the top innovations brought to you by the top companies from the world, from the industrial sector. And they want to get into contact and network with other visitors, with the exhibitors, in order to see how they can build up their competitiveness on a global scale. So that's why we said, when organizing Hannover Messe, we had to actually focus on these 3 topics. That will be the exhibition area. Let me just quickly go through this. So that will be the exhibition area, which we call Expo. And what we actually did is that we already...
Mr. Honora.
Yes.
If you could be able to just adjust your screen to put it into presentation mode.
Okay. So seems to have 1 second.
You put it on
Better?
a full slide. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what we see is that we have on one section of the show, which we called Expo. We have always had for years now a product area on our website where you can also, as a visitor, before coming to the show, you can get some information on what products will be on display. But we then had to really intensify this area and set it up on on a much larger scale, so that the exhibitors have the possibility to add a whole lot of videos, a whole lot of more information in this area, that they have the possibility to have video chats in this area, and to get in contact with the exhibitors directly, or with the visitors directly. So we really had to set up this whole area on a whole new set of legs. Then we have the conference area, where we said, okay, we've always been having conferences at Hannover Messe, but we never really streamed them. There were like 2 or 3 major forums that we streamed into the internet. Now we have to take all of these, I just mentioned it, to 1,500 speakers, and each and every session will be streamed online. Most of them will be live. So that's also the IT infrastructure that you have to set up if you really want to realize a show with the status of the Hannover Messe. And the most important part, and that's the part where we already had quite a few learnings in the last couple of months, is the networking part. So how do we get people to interact on our platform, to really get in touch with suppliers, to talk about innovations? How do we make that possible? And what we noticed when we had the first smaller digital exhibition last year is that it won't help if we just put all these features out in the market. We really have to find out how we can really give a push to the users to say, okay, I really want to get in touch, and I really want to innovate and get in discussion with the people taking part. So those are the 3 major pillars of Hannover Messe next week that will be relevant for all the visitors taking part. The next part was extremely important, was the marketing aspect. We had 2 major challenges that we had to face. First of all, we are making no money right now due to the corona pandemic. So we really had to look at our marketing budget and strip it down where it was possible, and focus basically only on digital marketing, where we can actually track our target groups and see how the marketing campaigns that we put out there are reacting. We did no more advertising in print or similar things. This was purely digital marketing that we had in order to attract our target groups, in the hope that we have several tens of thousands of visitors taking part next week at the Hannover Messe. And the next few charts that I have here that I'll be happy also to share with all of you afterwards, over the organizers of this event, are just some insights how on the website it's actually looking right now. Because of course, when we're in a digital field, has to also have, you're not on the fairground anymore, and you don't have this emotions and the spectacular technology that you can actually touch, but you have to be able to get these emotions online. And that's the other point where I would actually disagree with, sorry, I forgot the name, but the lady that just spoke before I entered, that it is actually cheaper to take part in a digital fair. Yes, it might be cheaper, but you really have to think about how do you invest in the way you appear on the screen. So how do you really make your product, be it consumer goods or be it industrial technology, how do you make it look like really, really high-tech products that also support your brand? And that is a really high investment, where we even witnessed that companies that are like really major global leading companies had their own learn curve when they started at our digital event that we had last year. They were really basic presentations that were quite boring, to be quite straight about it. And now I've seen already some presentations that will be held next week during the Hanover Messe Digital Edition. And those are really like keynotes that you could see when Apple is introducing a new iPhone and things like that. So you really have to invest in the way you present yourself on a digital platform, because the same way as you are competing with thousands of other exhibitors on the fairground here in Hanover, you are competing with other exhibitors on the website HANNOVER-Messe.de to make sure that they stick to your presentation and stick to your product. And that also, besides of course of creativity, that also means financial invest. So I'm almost through with my speaking time, but I just want to give you some concrete also facts that you have an idea how actually our business model is, because for us as a business company, as most of us are in this call, it's extremely important for us that we actually make money with digital events. We will be earning money with the event that we have next week, and the setup or the business case is that we actually offered our exhibitors different packages, S, M, and L packages, and even some that were XL packages. And these packages had different aspects of features that you can actually use. The number of live streams that you have varied. The numbers of products that you can put in the product data bank, they varied. So that's the price screen that we had from around 3,000 euros to around 30,000 euros. And those are the main invests that the companies actually took for Hanover Messe digital edition to make it also work for us as a business case. And I'd like to finish with the statement that we as a company, Corona has really been an absolute transformation boost for us. We are really trade fair organizers, and we are not internet experts, but we are working ourselves into the field. We're testing things, we're making mistakes, we're learning from our mistakes, and it's a really exciting time that we have right now. And we have no idea how many visitors will actually be taking part next week. We have no idea how the satisfaction of the exhibitors will be with the trade show, but we do know that it's going to be a very good use case for us to see what works and what doesn't work in order to take that into the future. And we are definitely looking forward to the years to come, because we think this combination of digital and hybrid will actually be the future of trade fairs, because there's so much potential in it. We can see it at Hanover Messe Digital Edition. 500 of the exhibitors taking part are completely new exhibitors that have never been here in Hanover, but that said, okay, it's a digital edition, I'm a very digital company, I'll take part. And if we have the opportunity to be live again next year and also have that potential of new exhibitors that only want to focus on a digital presentation, I think we have a bright future ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wanwara, for that very candid discussion, particularly on highlighting the website, which is hanovermesse.de. And for anybody who's trying to access the website, you can just Google the name Hanover, and it will bring you the hanovermesse.de. You've spoken on the participation options, where there are various options. Particularly, I've noted 3 of them. From the 2,900 euros, there's another for 7,500 euros, and another for 30,000 euros. So as a participant or an interested party from the East African region, kindly visit the website and see where your company fits best. The last speaker is Mr. Josef Nahas from the German Management Academy of Saxony, who is going to inform us or take us through the upcoming trade fair training in May. After the session, we are going to be having closing remarks. And after that, now, before we have the closing remarks, we'll have a Q&A session. So kindly, Mr. Josef Nahas, this is your chance. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me all?
We can hear you, Mr. Josef.
Yeah, okay, very good. So thank you for the introduction. My name is Yusuf Nahas. I'm the program manager on the Deutsche Management Academy Niedersachsen. We are a training provider from the federal state of Lower Saxony.
We can see you, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Kindly go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. We are a training provider from the federal state of Lower Saxony, and we are also a close partner from GIZ and the Business Scouts for Development, as we have already conducted and organized last year a training webinar with our partners in Tanzania and East Africa for the BMOs in the topic of crisis management. And yeah, this was the first webinar we have did with GIZ there. And in this year we are planning to conduct trade fair webinar in cooperation with Business Scouts for Development, GIZ, and especially with the federal state of Lower Saxony and the Deutsche Messe. So the webinar will start around first week of May. Can you please switch to the next slide? Yes, thank you. No, the other slides. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So we will start first week of May. There is a kind of introduction workshop, which I will show you some elements of it. We have planned to do it in 3 days. 3 days. So the duration will be half day, 3 to 4 hours per day. And in this introductory workshop, we will try to give you an impression about the business location in Lower Saxony based on the presentation or on the words of Mr. Postpage, and also the relation between Lower Saxony and DMIN. Of course, we will also introduce the Hanover Trade Fair location more specific, because now Mr. Onuru has given only a brief description about the Hanover Trade Fair, but we have during the calendar a lot of more trade fairs, for example, like the Domotex, like the Agritechnica. We have also some more specific topics. We will give you an overview about the trade fair location in Hanover. And the second days you will get some more things about the trade fair and marketing, about now the upcoming digital trade fair for the future. In the past, it was only a kind of physical trade fair, and you will get also overview about the trade fairs as a business model for your membership organizations on your members. Third day will give you an overview about the mission, vision, strategies for the trade fair organization teams, successful planning, and the project management and communication. Can you go again to the other slide, please? And I can give you a brief about just switch to the others. Yeah, thank you. Okay, this is this slide would show you for who will be the participant or what will be the outcome of the training. So we are planning to address the BMOs, the operators or organizers of trade fairs, and all affiliated service membership organization to create an awareness for international trends and B2B events, especially on the example of Hanover. The outcome should be like exploring the opportunities for possible collaboration between the operators in Hanover and the operators in the local site in East Africa. And we will try to elaborate some formats for the African markets. And of course, it should foster the bilateral delegations and relations for attending shows in 2022, if possible, here in Hanover. And the target groups could be all relevant bodies acting as a trade fair show organizers, operators, industry and investment, export promotion desks, different kind of ministries, of course, the business member organizations and exhibitors, for example, exhibitors who would be interesting to join a delegation as an exhibitor or at least as a visitor here in Germany. And of course, to enhance capacity and to establish new networks with practitioners here in Hanover. We are still not having the final agenda for the training, but we have discussed with GIZ in advance that we would make a kind of 2 to 3 times a week, 3 to 4 hours webinar, because it will be too long if we make full day session, and the whole duration of the training will be around 4 to 5 weeks, depends on how fast we are moving through the topics. So it will be beginning from first week of May till beginning of June, middle of June. And I hope all the local partners can mobilize their members and customers and partners to join at this trade fair, at this webinar training event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yusuf Nahas, as he has rightly pointed out that this training is set to equip BMOs and operators with the skills for organizing fairs, managing fairgrounds, offering affiliated services now to the members, and also to ensure that you have awareness for international trends in the B2B event sector. So this is a training that you totally cannot miss out. And he's also pointed out that if you need to register, you should reach out and contact your GIZ advisor in the region or in the country where you are based. At this juncture, we are moving on to the Q&A section, where we will be able to be looking at some of the highlights of the exhibition. So kindly, if you have questions, share them in the chat room. I will be reading out some of the comments that have already been shared. Joyce Njogu started us out by informing us about the Kenya Manufacturing Summit and Expo, which is usually held every November and is hosted by the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. The other question was set to Dr. Peter Mathuki. Is he in the meeting?
Yeah, Lillian, that would be from my side. May I can come in? Eckhard is here.
Kindly, Eckhard.
Yes. As some of the speakers were obliged already to leave, you know, they have other duties and we have a Friday. So for the Q&A sessions, it's important if you have direct comments to the operator training concerning now the next steps, what Yusuf has introduced, then you have the chance now to interact with Yusuf directly. For all the other aspects what we have been discussing today, I think you can also contact Lillian or other colleagues via email and address any further clarification as the speakers are not there. So that is the limiting factor here now in the Q&A. So I would focus rather now on the last contribution of the training provider, Deutsche Management Academy. If there is something what you want to address, please mute and talk about it, please.
Yeah. Hello?
So is that, I think we have no comment or further question, Yusuf? Then
No,
I
for
think
me, yeah. For me, it's clear. If anybody has later on question, he can come to you on the local side, or you can come to me directly, and then we can discuss further steps. But I guess from next week we can start to develop a final schedule. And if there are any questions, feel free to contact the local GIZ advisor or me directly.
yes, the business membership organizations, they know it very well. We always channel it via our advisors in the respective capitals. We are still running the offices in Kampala, Nairobi and Dar es Salaam, but also EABC is of course here involved. So we will coordinate the further steps, the registration process, and of course, as Yusuf has said, elaborating on the curricula, on the scheme in exactly demand-oriented way as we have always done it, so that the expectation is captured. Thank you for the presentation, Yusuf, and greetings to Zelle, and greetings also, of course, to Mr. Becker, your managing director in the Management Academy, who is currently, I think, with Asia concerned. So the advantage of the academy is that they have a vast experience as in Middle East and in Asia, so that we are capturing insights also from other parts of the world, as Business Scouts for Development is also acting in 40 countries. So we have also the duty and the responsibility always to ensure that East African partners are also exposed to other impressions from around the world. Thank you, Yusuf. Lillian, then I think we are in the closing remarks.
Eckhard, before we move to that, I just see a question that maybe Mr. Joseph can quickly answer. Can an organization in Germany join the event? Can they register for the event?
You mean if an organization in Germany want to join the webinar?
Yes.
So it is an East African organization, but based in Germany.
I think they've pointed out that they are based in Germany. In Germany, they want to be able to attend the event. Can they be able to do that, or is it just open for the East African region?
We can. We have to talk about it. Maybe if I know which organization and what is the background, we could do it. Yes, but it's yeah. I would not say directly no. Yes, but we can talk about it. It's possible in general.
Thank you very much, Mr. Youssef. I also need to highlight that if you need a recording of the session, kindly drop your email below. And also, we as EABC are going to be sharing the slides from the presenters with you. So kindly ensure that you have shared your email so that we can be able to reach out to you. And also, in case you have any questions, kindly drop them to us at EABC. Maybe you can send them to the communications at EABC. I will be writing the email right down here, and we will be able to reach out to our speakers, and they will be able to revert to your questions. At this particular point, maybe, Eckhard, we can have Lydia from GIZ Business Scouts to be able to give us closing remarks.
No, I would propose, as Dr. Tenga was dropping out from CTI, is CTI still in the line that Dr. Tenga can just conclude on his greetings in the beginning?
Thank you. Can you hear me, Eka? Hello?
Yes,
you can hear me. Okay. If you can, yeah. First of all, we are very sorry. I got lost, as usual, communication problems, but I would want to once again, really express my appreciation for the input that we've received from everybody. Wonderful information, and I believe it will go a long way in helping us as an association and as well with our members. My take from this meeting is the fact that it has made it very easy for all of us to communicate. And I really support everybody that has been there to saying this is the way of the future. It is very easy to collaborate. We've had a number of people, a number of institutions today. Everybody provide an input to how best to deal with this thing. So I really want to thank everybody who has been involved and all that are looking forward to continue using this platform going forward. I would want to thank them and really appreciate what they've done. One more thing that is very important for me, it's going to be a miss. I don't know whether my brother Mathuki is still there, but I would really, really wish to congratulate him for the appointment. We know what he is, we know what he can do. We are very confident that he's going to deliver. So congratulations from CTI, congratulations from his Tanzanian brothers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tenga. Eckhard, kindly you can guide me if we're going next to Lydia. She can give the closing remarks.
I was talking to her, so we have a line that I will now officially make the closing remarks. Thank you, Lillian, for guiding us through the agenda. Many thanks to the entire team of EABC organizing together with us this webinar. I can only reiterate to all the participants to check out the conference program from next week from Hanover Fair. If there is something interesting in for you, as you have learned, you can register, and it's nowadays very easy to attend such a world-leading fair from all over the world without now physically being present. I want also to congratulate again Dr. Peter Mathuki for his assignment and the responsibility he has taken up as a new Secretary General. And as he indicated, we are optimistic to maybe coordinate a technical briefing session on 22nd of April together with our partners again, in order to formulate a kind of resolution so that the new Secretary General has from the beginning already a catalogue of items what he can work on together with the Secretariat of the East African Community. Thank you to all of you for your participation, the interesting comments, and I hope you gathered also new context for your work in future. I herewith officially declare the meeting for as closed. Thank you so much and have a good weekend. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. We don't take it for granted having all the participants. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Lillian, just a quick question. We still need group photo or you captured any group photo?
Ah, that would be fantastic. Before we leave, maybe we can take a quick photo.
Cameras.
Kindly switch on your videos. Patrick, from your end, if you can be able to take a quick picture. I'll also be taking a quick one. Thank you, thank you.
Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you very much for attending.
Bye-bye.